winter has come. As the Bering Sea roars with ice, a group of sailors quietly sails to the edge of the world. They seek no glory, nor do they need the spotlight. What they were after was buried beneath the waves. More than 200,000 pounds of king crab, a hidden treasure under the ice worth more than $3 million. In the middle of the frozen hell, one small mistake can cost you your life. This is a life and death race that lasts only 7 days, where each basket of crabs is a bet with the ocean. Go discover how harvesting 200,000 pounds of king crab earns $3 million in just 7 days. Sweet and chewy meat imbued with the flavor of the deep sea. Grouper is an ingredient favored by top chefs in high-end menus. Was ticking 7 days, 200,000 pounds of king crab, and a $3 million bounty hanging over each crew member's head. On deck, dark clouds rolled in like a warning. An Arctic storm was brewing, force 9 winds, 16.4-foot waves, and enough cold to shatter steel. The ship groaned like bent metal, and the crew clung on and waited. In the cabin, a life or death choice is heard over the radio. Either fly into the storm or lose everything. There is no time to hesitate. Out there, every minute is a stab at your wallet and your hope of survival. Below deck, silence reigned. All eyes followed each heavy cage pulled up from the black seabed. It was more than steel and rope. It was $800 worth of hope or a crushed dream. On the deck, hands that were purple from the cold were still working hard. No one complained, no one stopped. Every stroke was a gamble with the ocean. One misstep, and the whole season was lost. The first basket, 67 fish, not a single cheer, because they knew the sea never lets anyone win easily. Peak season, the old wooden boats plow out into the cold depths. There, divers plunge into the sea with tridents and baskets, no oxygen tanks, no safety ropes, Just short breaths, pounding hearts, and a breathless hunt in less than 2 minutes. Each basket needs an average of 21 fish. Below that, you lose money. But out there, paperwork doesn't save anyone. Only human strength, willpower, and steady feet on the slippery deck. The storm was relentless. The wind was howling. The hail was pounding the deck like sledgehammers. 120 baskets had been dropped. Hundreds were waiting. The sea did not wait. Either he conquered it, or it was wiped off the map. No need for orders. A look is enough. A nod in the cold wind, a firm pull, and hope to survive again. Crabs of all sizes. Into the tank. Not enough. Back to the bottom. No room for emotion. The shift lasted through the night. Under the yellow lights, the roar of engines and the roar of waves. There is no waiting for the sun, no doing it again tomorrow. There is only one goal: survive and hit the mark. The last baskets popped open. Crabs scurried out wind, whipping their faces. 47. No explosion, no triumph, but enough to pass the 200,000-pound mark on the 7th day. Dawn broke through the heavy fog. The engines roared. The ship turned not toward shore, but back after a fierce battle. They had won back 3 million from the hands of the sea. The crates of king crab are immediately sorted, passed live, sent to a special location, failed, sent to the cold processing line. Fresh, healthy crabs are placed in tanks of cold seawater to stabilize. Then they are packed in styrofoam boxes with ice or cooling gel kept at 32-39 degrees. The goal to be alive when they reach a high-end restaurant. The crabs that cannot survive will be boiled quickly, cooled quickly, and the meat will be manually separated, each leg and each body piece, ensuring sweetness and intact structure. Crab meat is grated, canned, and frozen at 22 Rushinarv. Ready to serve major F&B chains from high-end sushi to convenience foods. Whether live or frozen, each crate carries the spirit of the Bering Sea, the coldest and most inhospitable body of water on the planet. Behind the 200,000 libis of crab and 3 million in revenue, in just 7 days, there are days and nights of sleepless nights, endurance, precision, and bravery of those who constantly fight the ocean. Not every dish needs layers of spices to become the best. King crab, a creature that rises from the cold sea floor, already carries within it the flavor of the ocean and a fierce spirit of survival. At a Norwegian fjordside restaurant, the chef doesn't need fancy techniques, just an oak steamer, some fiery red volcanic rocks, and a dash of local sea salt. All it takes to bring out the pure sweetness from beneath the thorny skin. Here, crab is more than just a dish. It is the end of a life and death journey, a quiet symphony between man and the sea, where delicacy is paid for with sweat storms and time. Each red king crab is the result of a silent battle between man and the ocean. If you love the enduring journeys amidst the storms, follow the channel to discover the true beauty behind each catch. Giant ice fishing is more than just a job. It is a real challenge, not only for the fish, but also for the fishermen themselves. You have to overcome the bitter cold, face the potential dangers under the ice, and sometimes the power of nature itself. So how do these fishermen manage to fish under ice several meters thick? The process is not simple. First, they must pinpoint the fishing area using modern technology, such as sonar, to find out where the fish are gathering. Then they drill holes through the ice. Each hole to catch giant fish worth millions of dollars. But drilling through the ice is just the first step. When you drill, you not only have to do it quickly, but you also have to do it accurately. Otherwise, the hole will be too small for the fish to enter, or the drilling equipment may be damaged. This can make a day's work in vain. Next is choosing the right bait. Unlike regular fishing, ice fish have very special habits and eating methods. Fishermen must choose the right bait, using live or artificial baits to attract the fish they are targeting. But all that preparation and technique isn't enough. So how do you actually catch the fish? How do these fishermen land these massive multi-million-dollar catches? It is no coincidence that hundreds of fishermen are willing to face the bitter cold to drill into the ice and hunt for giant fish. Because what they are looking for is not just fish, but the white gold of the ocean. Cod, sea bass, salmon are all high-end seafood with great economic value in the international market. Cod, for example, is a popular delicacy in Japan and across Europe, especially when fresh and of ideal size. A single shipment can bring in thousands, even tens of thousands of dollars. Sea bass and salmon are equally valuable, often appearing on the menus of high-end restaurants, processed into sushi, sashimi, or premium grilled dishes. The image of fish crates being meticulously sorted, carefully packed, and loaded onto export ships is a testament to a closed value chain, where craftsmanship, modern technology, and global markets blend together. So, ice fishing is not just a tough job, it's a multi-million-dollar industry where only the tough, the precise, and the experienced can survive and succeed. When you think of ice fishing, you might imagine the bitter cold, but the dangers go beyond the weather. These fishermen face a host of challenges that can sometimes have dire consequences. Imagine you are drilling a hole through thick ice. You can't see anything below the water surface. You only hear the sound of drilling through the thick ice. A small mistake, such as drilling in the wrong location, drilling a hole that is too small, or ice that is not thick enough, can lead to a dangerous accident. In addition to the risk of ice breaking, another challenge is the harsh weather. Sometimes fishermen have to work in strong winds, heavy snowfall, and temperatures below -30 degrees Celsius. These conditions not only damage equipment, but can also pose a health risk to workers. And then, once you have the fish, another challenge arises. You have to get the fish into cold storage quickly, or they will die of hypothermia in the cold. The time between pulling the fish up and getting them into cold storage is extremely important. Despite the dangers, ice fishing is not only a risky business, but also a great opportunity. Why do people still do ice fishing despite the danger and harshness? Because this profession is not just a job, but a billion-dollar industry. Each fishing season, these fishermen can earn millions of dollars from selling cod, sea bass, salmon, all of which are highly valuable fish. With each batch of fish that meets export standards, a boat can earn hundreds of thousands of dollars in just a few days. But it's not just fishermen who benefit. The industry involves thousands of people, from seafood processors to exporters. It's a powerful economic ecosystem that few people know about. Not only that, but ice fishing is also an extremely important source of income for many families living in cold regions. Therefore, despite the great challenges, this fishing profession still exists strongly. Ice fishing is more than just a job. It is an art that requires absolute precision, incredible skills, and no shortage of challenges. But in return, there are huge economic values and little-known stories. If you want to discover more strange professions and extraordinary skills, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell. Follow us so you don't miss the next interesting videos. Off the west coast of Alaska, the Bering Sea becomes treacherous in the winter. The ice is more than 8.2 feet thick. The winds are bitterly cold with temperatures regularly below -40 degrees Celsius, and the fishing window lasts just 2 to 4 weeks before the ocean freezes over completely. In such harsh conditions, no one thought a prickly creature that lives quietly on the ocean floor could become a million-dollar item. But the sea urchin, also known as uni, did just that. Hidden behind the bristling black shell, orange-yellow egg fibers, soft as cream, sweet as early-season seawater, and the thing that sushi chefs are willing to pay for the freshest, most beautiful kind, every day. But this is not a common food. Sea urchin eggs are extremely fragile, easily dissolved, and only retain their maximum deliciousness for less than 24 hours after harvest. That makes speed and accuracy vital throughout the entire supply chain. A tray of Grade A uni can sell for between $80 and $150, depending on origin and freshness. Large shipments typically contain between 6,000 and 10,000 trays, pushing the total value into the millions of dollars in a single shipment. And the more high-end, the more extreme the risk. But what makes the sea urchin industry special isn't just the numbers, it's the way people treat each tray of eggs as if they were transporting something alive, fragile, and irreplaceable. And as demand skyrockets and the market expands globally, the question becomes, who will deliver on time and who will lose out just because they are 15 minutes late? On the calm sea, before the first light of the sky appeared, a group of divers quietly entered their shift. There is no rumble of industrial vessels, no giant nets overflowing with marine life. Just people, thick wetsuits, and an absolute respect for the ocean. In the bitter cold, with water temperatures below 5 degrees Celsius, they quietly dive deep into the dark waters, where reefs and corals hide living pearls, sea urchins. These tiny creatures do not lie around waiting to be harvested. They hide in crevices in rocks and corals, requiring workers with keen eyes and skilled hands to detect and pick them up without harming them. Each sea urchin is hand-picked and carefully placed in a mesh bag strapped to the back. There is no room for error. Even a slight bruise, or if the urchin dies before reaching the shore, the value is zero. So from the moment it first hits the water, the race begins, not for quantity, but for accuracy, freshness, and processing speed. No one is in a hurry. Every movement is slow and meticulous, like a ritual. This is not just a job, it is an art. There, skill, experience, and patience blend together to create the finest product from the sea. Live sea urchins with their golden, fatty eggs reserved for only the most discerning diners. As soon as the boat reaches the shore, the sea urchins are transported straight to coastal processing stations, where every step is done entirely by hand. In a cold, clean space filled with the smell of sea salt, skilled hands begin their work with almost absolute precision. Each hedgehog is carefully split in half, revealing the golden egg inside. Only a few grams, but the most precious essence. The processor uses special tweezers to pick up each egg segment, gently enough not to break or crush them, then washes them with purified seawater to preserve the original flavor. Finally, the eggs are neatly arranged on traditional thin wooden trays, each tray a living work of art, smooth, evenly colored, flawless. Just one wrong move, one wrong cut, and the entire value will plummet. Because with sea urchins, not only freshness but also aesthetics are the price criteria. In the sea urchin shipping industry, time is of the essence. At major seafood auctions, only shipments that arrive at the right time are allowed to participate in the main session. If delivered on time, each tray of eggs, uni, can fetch $120 to $150. But if it's just 30 minutes late, the price can be halved or even rejected altogether. But the risk is not just in the clock. Sea urchin eggs are extremely sensitive to temperature. If the temperature in the container exceeds 4 degrees Celsius, within a few hours the quality will deteriorate. They will lose consistency, change color, leak, and be considered discarded. It's a double whammy, racing against time while maintaining stable storage conditions. A sudden downpour, a malfunctioning cold storage facility, or even a lengthy customs procedure can ruin a $1 million shipment. It is worth mentioning, no insurance covers delays. Once the goods are damaged, the business bears the entire loss. In this game, error means failure, and no one, be it the carrier, the warehouseman, or the driver, is allowed to be slow, even for a minute. After a journey of thousands of kilometers, trays of the freshest sea urchin eggs finally reach their rightful place, the kitchen tables of the world's top sushi chefs. Uni does not require elaborate preparation. This delicate ingredient cannot withstand high heat, strong spices, or poor workmanship. All you need is a sharp knife, a steady hand, and a little finesse. That's all you need. A small slice of vinegared rice, a thin strip of seaweed, and a piece of uni with just the right amount of melting. Not too much, not too little. Place it in your hand. Hand it to the customer. It all happens in less than 10 seconds. Uni has an indescribable taste. It is fatty, salty, and sweet like ocean milk. It is soft and creamy, but the lingering flavor is a salty mineral flavor, characteristic of the deep, cold ocean. Nothing can replace it. In Tokyo, New York, and Dubai, uni is served not only as sushi or sashimi. Many Michelin 3-star restaurants are creative with uni risotto, cold noodles with hedgehog eggs, or even uni sauce used in French-style poached eggs. For gourmets, uni is not just food, it is a moment of perfect balance between nature, technique, and time. And when they take the first bite, few people know that to keep that flavor, hundreds of people have not slept for the past 24 hours. From the cold depths of the ocean to the high-end dining table, each tray of urchin eggs is the result of a fierce competition, where every minute, every degree, Celsius can determine hundreds of thousands of dollars. This is not just the food industry, but profession of absolute precision. If you find this journey worthwhile, please subscribe channel to continue to explore other great stories from the real world out there. Imagine a species of seafood that lives deep under the cold sand, is shaped like an elephant's trunk, and lives for more than 100 years, but each one is worth hundreds of dollars. That's the geoduck, or elephant clam, a strange creature sought after by high-end foodies for its sweet, crunchy, nutritious meat, especially when made into sashimi, which can cost up to $400 a plate. Geoduck live in cold waters like the west coast of the U.S. and Canada, take 5 to 7 years to mature, and cannot be artificially bred. They must be kept absolutely alive when exploited, because if they die, they lose almost all their value. With each shipment worth up to $500,000, geoduck is truly living gold under the sand, a natural treasure reserved only for those who understand enough to appreciate it. Every morning, as the tide recedes to reveal the cold, sandy shoreline, a group of divers begin what they call living gold mining. Not real gold, but geoducks, strange creatures worth hundreds of dollars each, lurking deep beneath the sand. Geoducks are not easy to harvest. They bury themselves about 2 to 3 feet below the surface, clinging tightly to the dense sandy soil. Fishermen cannot use picks or shovels. A single hard hit will damage the geoduck's soft body, reducing its value to almost nothing. Therefore, each geoduck must be rescued delicately. Divers use a special tool, a high-pressure hose, to spray water into the sand, creating a vortex that loosens the soil. After a few minutes of water digging, the geoduck's trunk begins to emerge, wriggling gently in the cold water. Carefully and slowly, the diver used his hands to pull this precious creature up, making sure not to break the shell or tear the flesh. They only collect a few dozen each time they dive, but with a selling price of $150 to $300 per fish, this job is enough to generate a good income if the weather is favorable and the body can withstand the cold water of only about 8 degrees Celsius. After harvesting, geoducks are washed with cold seawater, brought ashore for careful inspection and sorting. Only the large, healthy, undamaged ones are eligible for export. The rest are sold domestically or discarded. Next comes strict quarantine. Each one is stamped with traceability tags, temperature monitoring, and harvest time. Any mistake, no matter how small, can result in a $500,000 shipment being returned.
It's a gooey duck world. Call that a cage, broken.
In the middle.
The harvest is over, but the real race is just beginning. The clock is ticking, and the transporter has just 36 hours to get the geoduck across the Pacific Ocean before it stops breathing. Once the geoduck is lifted out of the water, the race against time officially begins. With an offshore lifespan of just 36 hours, any delay could mean $500,000 worth of cargo becoming trash. No insurance company will cover these living treasures. Geoduck is extremely sensitive, requiring a strict transport environment simulating the deep sea. Maintain temperature of 0 to 2 degrees Celsius, high humidity, stable oxygen. Each fish is placed in a specialized insulated box, lined with gel ice and seaweed, and equipped with continuous monitoring sensors. Less than 36 hours to bring geoduck to a high-end dining table in Shanghai, a journey that seems easy but is not simple at all. Traffic jams, technical problems, customs delays, any factor can turn into a disaster. Specialized vehicles must ensure strict micro conditions with a system of sensors constantly monitoring. David, the supervisor, always kept an eye on the indicators. I have shipped more than 300 lots, but if it is just a few hours late, it is considered a total loss. After nearly 30 hours of continuous transportation, the $500,000 geoduck shipment finally arrived at its destination, a high-end restaurant in downtown Shanghai. The value of a geoduck is not just in its taste. It is the reward for the chain of efforts behind it, from the fishermen diving into the cold sand, to the technicians checking its preservation, to the logistics team that traveled nearly 9,000 kilometers without a single mistake. From American waters to Asian dinner tables, each geoduck is a feat of craftsmanship. And tomorrow, a new journey begins. With demand skyrocketing from wealthy Asians, the profits from each geoduck trip can double or even triple the investment costs. That's why companies are pouring money into preservation technology, their own supply chains, and teams that are ready to respond around the clock. Back in the day, lobsters were considered a food for prisoners and the poor. But as demand increased and transportation became more common, lobsters began to gain popularity and became a delicacy. Lobsters weren't always expensive. In the 17th and 18th centuries, they were often used as bait or fertilizer in agriculture. So when did lobster become a delicacy for the upper class? The story begins with the development of the railroad in the mid-19th century. Thanks to the developed train network, lobsters were brought from the East Coast to the mainland, where many people had never seen this seafood before. They were quickly attracted by its unique shape and taste, turning lobster from a common dish into a high-class specialty, a symbol of luxury in high-class restaurants. The Canadian lobster, with its sturdy appearance and tough shell, is not born anywhere. They only survive and thrive in the cold waters of the North Atlantic, especially in areas like Nova Scotia, Newfoundland, and Prince Edward Island. These areas have extremely harsh climates, where the seawater remains cold all year round. But not everyone knows that Canadian lobsters can only live in these waters. So why is a species so highly valued? It is due to its rarity and the special habitat in which it thrives. The fishermen of Nova Scotia and Newfoundland are more than just lobstermen. They are sea warriors, facing harsh elements every day. Each trip begins early in the morning, in the cold and with big waves. They prepare and drop each trap to the seabed, a seemingly simple task, but one that requires high skills. Not only the harsh weather, but also choosing the right time and place to drop the trap also determines success. They have to wait patiently for hours, always ready to face the risks of snowstorms or sudden rough seas. When the traps are pulled up from the cold seabed, these lobsters are not only valuable seafood, but also companions in the fight for survival. Every lobster faces a dangerous grip from its own claws. Lobsters can exert a clamping force of up to 9,000 pounds per square inch, enough to break a finger if you're not careful. Although a high-end delicacy, the lobster industry is not only about profit, but also about sustainability. Lobsters are only allowed to be harvested when they reach a minimum size, and the young ones are released back into the sea to protect the species and ecological balance. Egg-bearing female lobsters are also released back into the wild immediately to ensure reproduction for the next generation. In addition, each fishing season is limited in time, helping to prevent overfishing and maintain a stable supply. In fact, the lobster industry is becoming more sustainable than ever. It is not only a commercial industry, but also a symbol of respect for nature, where strict regulations protect both the lobsters and the marine ecosystems in which they live. Lobster is an expensive dish, but few people know that the cost of catching them is much higher. Each trip to the sea not only requires the effort of the fisherman, but also entails a series of hidden costs that diners never see. Fuel, bait, and boat maintenance alone can cost up to $1,100 per trip. Bait, the key to attracting lobsters, must be purchased in large quantities and is not cheap, especially during peak fishing season. Add to that the cost of equipment maintenance, ship repairs, and specialized tools, all of which must be kept ready to operate in harsh conditions. And that's not all. Unstable weather is always a major threat. Big waves and strong winds can damage the ship, ruin the trip, and even threaten lives. Therefore, behind every luxurious lobster dish is an expensive, risky, and arduous journey that only a seafarer can understand. Lobster is a luxury food not only because of its delicious taste, but also because of the complex fishing process and high operating costs. The price of $70 to $100 per kilogram reflects its scarcity, occupational hazards, and rigorous conservation efforts. Lobsters live in cold waters like Nova Scotia and Newfoundland, where harsh conditions result in sweeter, firmer meat. Lobster fishing requires large investments in fuel, bait, and boat maintenance, while fishermen must adhere to conservation regulations, keeping only the best lobsters. Additionally, lobsters grow slowly, taking up to 7 years to harvest, while climate change is reducing production. So, lobsters are not only a delicacy, but also a symbol of luxury and sustainability. The lobster industry, while thriving today, depends on the sustainability of marine resources for its future. Strict regulations, species protection efforts, and the hard work of fishermen all contribute to a fishery that is not only rich but also sustainable. We are not just consumers, but also responsible people who protect the environment and resources for future generations. Protecting and sustaining the lobster industry not only helps protect fishermen, but also preserves marine resources for future generations. So when we enjoy this lobster, we are not only spending money on a delicious dish, but also contributing to maintaining a sustainable seafood industry. Together, we can help protect the lobster industry, protect the seas, and protect the fishermen who work hard day and night at sea. Remember, each lobster is not just a luxury item, but a symbol of hard work, resilience, and sustainable practices. Continue to support sustainable seafood products to help preserve these values for years to come. Thanks for watching. If you find the video useful, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss out on exciting videos about premium products and the process of creating their value. Please share this video to help protect lobsters and the ocean for future generations. See you in the next video. Although it looks like a flat snail clinging to rocks, abalone is the living pearl of the ocean, with thick, crispy, sweet white meat sought after throughout Asia. They grow slowly, taking 3 to 5 years to harvest, and only live in clean, cold waters, like southern Australia, which is known as the capital of abalone. depends entirely on nature, and because they are rare, they become a high-end gift, a symbol of good luck, pushing the price up to $120 each. But the real value lies not just in taste, but also in human effort and greed. Australian abalone is no longer just seafood. It is sought after like gold. If you've ever wondered why an abalone can cost up to $120, the answer can be summed up in 3 words: slow, rare, clean. Abalone grow very slowly, taking 3 to 5 years to reach harvest size, and only thrive under ideal conditions. They are extremely rare, especially wild abalone, while global demand, especially from Asia, is increasing. And the final deciding factor, the environment. They only thrive in cold, almost perfectly clean waters, like Tasmania and South Australia. The cost of raising abalone is therefore very high, from water filtration systems, temperature control, to food and manual harvesting. Transport is also risky. If the abalone dies on the way, all its value is lost. Therefore, abalone often has to be frozen quickly or transported alive using special technology. The high price is inevitable because the buyer is paying for time, effort, and a rare, clean environment. And it is this huge profit that makes abalone become sea gold, hunted not only by legal fishermen, but also by professional smuggling rings. In the cold waters of southern Australia, every day before dawn, hundreds of divers quietly leave the dock, not to fish, but to hunt for abalone. They plunge into water below 10 degrees Celsius, facing undertows, strong currents, and sharks. Without the aid of machinery, abalone harvesting must be done entirely by hand. Each abalone clings tightly to the reef at depths of between 33 and 98 feet, and with just a rough hand movement, its value is lost. One abalone can sell for more than $100, but the price to pay can be life itself. Each dive lasts 30 to 40 minutes, repeated throughout the day amid water pressure, cold, and the risk of disorientation. This is one of the most dangerous jobs in the fishing industry. But the threat doesn't just come from nature. It also comes from poachers who illegally dive at night, making underwater collisions more terrifying than ever. Despite the dangers, many divers still stick with the profession because of its huge economic value and the pride in protecting their homeland's resources. However, not everyone chooses the right path. When the profits are too great, the dark side begins to emerge, and the underground war officially begins. Before becoming a powerful dish on the dinner table, each Australian abalone undergoes a rigorous processing procedure in an export standard factory. Immediately after being caught, abalone are refrigerated and transported to the factory within hours to maintain maximum freshness. Here they are hand-cleaned, shelled, gutted, and thoroughly washed with treated seawater. Absolutely no chemicals are used. Depending on market requirements, abalone can be kept alive, frozen, or steamed, and vacuum packed. Each tray has a traceability code, quality control, and clear label, ensuring transparency from sea to table. For high-end orders, abalone is also graded by size and shell color, because in the luxury segment, aesthetics are as important as taste. The factory is not just a place for processing, but the final step in turning a living pearl of the ocean into a precious gift served at million-dollar parties across Asia. In many Asian countries, abalone is a luxury gift at weddings, housewarmings, or longevity celebrations, a symbol of luck, prosperity, and status. A box can cost anywhere from a few hundred to a few $1,000s. At a high-end restaurant, a plate of stewed abalone can cost up to $500, and Australian abalone, clean, firm, wild-caught, is always the most expensive choice. Customers don't ask the price, they just ask if it's Australian abalone, said Mr. Wang, a restaurant owner in Shanghai. Demand far outstrips supply, driving prices up. And when waiting or complying with the law no longer appeals, smugglers spring into action, turning abalone into white gold traded quietly across Asia. Beneath the calm, a trade in abalone is quietly growing. With prices up to $120 apiece, abalone has become the white gold of the ocean, hunted, illegally traded, and smuggled out of Australia in suitcases, coolers, or disguised as other cargo. Every year, tons of abalone are smuggled overseas by organized gangs, from Australia to China, Hong Kong to Europe. They not only evade taxes and launder money, but also pose many other risks. Meanwhile, legal farmers and fishermen are being forced to pay higher prices because of the proliferation of smuggled goods. Wild abalone is gradually depleted, and the ecosystem is threatened. In the face of this threat, Australia is taking action. In Tasmania, high-tech farms constantly monitor abalone, from salinity to algae levels to their life journey, all QR-coded for traceability. From the cold ocean floor to the dining table, each abalone carries value not only in money, but also in time, effort, and sacrifice. The question is, will we consume it or will we preserve it? Hidden deep in the reef's treacherous reefs, groupers are giant predators that can grow to be 6.6 feet long and weigh more than 440 pounds, the moon bear of the ocean. They live up to 40 years and only breed for a few weeks each year, making supplies extremely limited. Hidden deep in the reef's treacherous reefs, groupers are giant predators that can grow to be 6.6 feet long and weigh more than 440 pounds, the moon bear of the ocean. They live up to 40 years and only breed for a few weeks each year, making supplies extremely limited. With its white, firm, boneless meat, grouper is a premium ingredient at Michelin-starred restaurants in Tokyo, Hong Kong, and Dubai. Some rare breeds, such as the Napoleon grouper, are banned from being caught, causing their value on the black market to skyrocket. Because of the extreme difficulty and the constant risk involved, grouper is a rare commodity. A 6-ton catch can fetch more than $1.5 million, a worthy reward for those brave enough to face the ocean. Behind the million-dollar deal in the middle of the ocean is an entire ecosystem of technology and the art of survival, starting right from the secret coastal grouper hatcheries. Here, parent groupers are strictly selected through DNA analysis and genetic characteristics to breed a new generation with high resistance and optimal growth rate. After hatching, larvae are raised in a closed environment with absolute control over nutrition, temperature, and living density. When large enough, the fish are raised in sea cages or lakes near islands, where the survival pressure is just as harsh as in nature. Each sturgeon cage is not just a cage, it is an entire high-tech ecosystem. Inside, it is integrated underwater surveillance cameras, oxygen sensors, temperature sensors, and even artificial intelligence to closely monitor every movement and every small abnormal sign. Just one sudden change, such as a reversal in currents, an unusual rise in temperature, or a bacterial invasion, can cause a disaster fish die off en masse, and a farm owner can lose hundreds of thousands of dollars overnight. This is not just fish farming. It is a constant watch between man and nature, with risks lurking in every water. Grouper farming takes 2 to 4 years to reach commercial size of about 33 to 66 pounds each. And only those farms that can overcome all risks of disease storms and environmental change have a chance to enter the international market, where 6 tons of grouper can be exchanged for more than 1.5 million USD, becoming a worthy trophy for a dangerous and difficult journey. After nearly a year of nurturing in the deep coral reef, the giant groupers are finally ready to be harvested. As the sun rises or sets coolly, when the water temperature is at its most ideal, the marine farming team begins the meticulous process. Each fish cage is cleverly narrowed, creating a gentle embrace in the middle of the ocean. Groupers weighing tens of kilograms are scooped up one by one with a specialized soft net, then quickly put into an oxygenated seawater tank on board. Every operation is absolutely precise to keep the fish healthy and unscathed, a decisive factor in export value. It is the attention to detail, combined with advanced marine farming techniques, pristine environments, and international shipping networks, that turns 6 tons of grouper into a deal worth more than 1.5 million USD, a living treasure raised from the ocean floor. Immediately after being harvested, the precious groupers are brought to the processing station near the farming area, where every step is carried out with almost absolute precision. Fish are kept in deep seawater tanks or using biocalming techniques which help the body recover and avoid injury. Each fish is then washed with pure seawater or a mild salt solution which brightens the skin and removes the natural slime without damaging the smooth, shiny surface of the skin, a key factor for commercial value. Immediately, the fish is flash frozen at 31 Bordeaux, preserving its texture, sweetness, and firmness, sealing in the freshness of the ocean. Next, the fish is vacuum-packed, labeled with traceability, and shipped to high-end markets such as Japan, Korea, or Singapore. Each grouper is not just a product, but the crystallization of technology, skill, and respect for nature. The reason why 6 tons of fish can bring in more than 1.5 million USD. White, sweet, and chewy meat imbued with the flavor of the deep sea. Grouper is an ingredient favored by top chefs in high-end menus. Three, on deck, dark clouds rolled in like a warning. An Arctic storm was brewing, force 9 winds, 16.4-foot waves, and enough cold to shatter steel. The ship groaned like Not only delicious grouper is also rich in protein, low in fat, and contains many minerals that are good for the heart and joints. Therefore, this is not just a dish, but a blend of sophisticated cuisine and nutrients from the ocean. From the deep sea to the dinner table, each grouper is the crystallization of technology, human effort, and global trade networks. The reason why this deal is worth up to 1.5 million USD. If this journey impressed, you don't forget to like and follow the channel to discover other magical stories from the natural world.